Yep, it's me again. They hate me, that's why they give a fuck about me at the same time. As always, JD Miles. The MGTOWs they love to hate. Even the ones that claim everybody loves to hate them, loves to hate MGTOW at the same time, which is why they keep us relevant to this day, and I'm back again. Okay, for this one, I got to come out to defend MTR. That's right, fellas. Our good old friends at Homeland Security are back to their crazy antics again. They already got 2 losses under their belt. And now they're getting desperate. Now they're on to their next task. Oh, claim that these men are male supremacists. And which that begs a question everybody's asking, because we all been hearing this for quite some time now. What the fuck is a male supremacist? And what does male supremacy got to do with Red Pill, the Manosphere, and the rest of these male spaces? What does male supremacy got to do with it? That's a head scratcher right there. But let's hear what MTR has to say on this situation. Believe me, this is some real shit that's happening.
You guys have sent me this case study, this article, an uncountable amount of times. And I will admit, I looked at this about a week or so ago. And when I saw that they ranked me 2 out of 10 on the male supremacy index for content creators, I immediately thought to myself, how incompetent of the researchers, how incompetent of the authors to create something like this, to so inaccurately describe what it is that I do up here. Let me just throw this thing away, because who would ever want to believe something like this? But you guys continue to send it to me, which allowed me to do additional research to understand the implications of exactly what it is. See, we live in a world today where standing up for yourself as a man is not only demonized, but apparently there are government organizations that are funding control of what you watch. And they're doing it blatantly right up here on YouTube. Again, the implications of...
What has Uncle JD been saying? What has Uncle JD been saying? They fear, and I repeat, they fear men having a voice. And now they're trying so hard to suppress the voices of men. I've been saying this, but let's continue.
What this means for not only myself, but pro-masculine content is insane. But this is a discussion that we must have. So what is good old MTR talking about? There is an NGO, a non-government organization called Diverting Hate, which is funded by, among others, the Department of Homeland Security. You'll see that written right down here, who, by the way, should be utilizing our tax dollars to protect or to tighten up our borders, keeping us safe, securing our nation from the very real threats that we are facing.
Exactly. That's exactly what they're supposed to be doing. But nope, they're more concerned about trying to make the voices of men be illegal. And they have to do anything they can to stop it from happening. They're more concerned about that than securing our goddamn borders. But let's continue.
Competent people over at Diverting Hate, with the support of the DHS, have again put me on a list, crowning me number 2 male supremacist right up here on YouTube. But here goes the actual list right here. You'll see me up at number 2. Now, I know what you're saying to yourself, which is, what the hell is male supremacy? They actually have written definitions of exactly what it means, and we're going to...
Yep, they do. But as I said before, everybody's asking, what the fuck is male supremacy? They constantly talk about it, but they don't give a complete breakdown of what it means. But don't worry, I got you covered. Hey, AI, what is male supremacy?
Male supremacy is the belief or ideology that men are superior to women and should control and power over them in both personal and societal settings. This mindset often leads to gender discrimination, inequality, and the reinforcement of gender roles that limit women's rights and opportunities. It can also contribute to violence and abuse against women. Male is considered a form of sexism and is typically associated with patriarchal society.
Say no more. Wait a second. Did AI just said they look at male as sexist? As sexist? Wow, just wow. So, in a nutshell, males, in a nutshell, what Homeland Security is trying to claim that these men that's on this list are men who are content creators who are promoting control, dominance, and superiority over women. Now, I sat back and I thought to myself, does Homeland Security even pay any attention at all to what they label shit? Because out of all people, I'm subscribed to MTR. Since when has MTR ever made videos telling men to take control of women, dominate women, and all that other bullshit? In fact, I'll go the extra mile and ask this question. Does MTR only go at women? Oh, wait, I'm subscribed to the channel. I know. No, he doesn't. He doesn't just go after women. MTR also goes after men too. And this is how you know. And this is how you know just how desperate Homeland Security is when they get down to a point where they have to cherry pick shit in order to make their claims work. But that's not the half of it, because here's another thing. I see, and it's one of these things just not like the others. One of these things doesn't belong. Can you tell which one is not like the others by the time I finish this song? Just pearly things! And you're absolutely right. So wait a second. If this is supposed to be a list of male supremacists, is Homeland Security saying that there are exceptions to the rule? Last time I checked, Just Pearly Things is a female. So a female can be a male supremacist. Is this what retarded fuck-ass Homeland Security is saying? I mean, that's the equivalent of saying both the blacks and the Jays, y'all know what I mean by that, are all welcome into white supremacy. That is the equivalent of this retarded fuck shit. Oh, they male supremacists, but yeah, women can be part of it too. I know Homeland Securities had took 2 L's, but this right here completely shows that their foot is in their mouth when it comes to this retarded fuck ass research. But let's continue.
We're going to go directly through all of that. And truth be told, honestly, I'd be happy to wear number 2 if I thought that this shit was accurate. But these smooth brains put me above, amongst others, Fresh and Fit and Just Pearly Things. Really? Just Pearly Things, the platform who...
Really? Just pearly things? Exactly. Just pearly things? A woman that Homeland Security is claiming is a male supremacist, but she's not a man? Fuck out of here. Let's continue.
Who actively advocates for women not being able to vote, which begins, by the way, to tease out the sheer incompetence and bias of the authors of this report. But even outside the incompetence, the authors use the tried and true methods of positioning content creators like myself as being a hate group, so much to the extent that it's laughable. So we're going to go through components of this case study today that is reflective of me, myself, and my channel, because what they've attempted to do is to bucket all content creators together as if we all believe in the same things, or if we all teach the same things, or if all of our audiences behave in the same way, label us all of these weaponized words such as extremist and male supremacist, which, by the way, is a derivative of white supremacist, but they're utilizing those words as weapons against content creators that were restoring power to men. One of the major...
Again, what has Uncle JD been saying? Again, what has Uncle JD been saying? They look at this, they look at it as one big group where everybody thinks alike, walks alike, talks alike. Everything's alike. No differences. Yet Homeland Security, FBI, all these governments constantly drop the ball. They make these claims, but then wonder why it's not working. And this right here, as I said before, is just Homeland Security being desperate to try to find a missing link that's not even there. But let's continue.
Major goals of my platform, along with having a critical discussion to understanding the nature of both men and women, is to give men the information to live a joyous life. Provide them information in regards to the inadequacies of the family court system. Provide them information that tells them that they are in a patriarchal regime and should feel bad for being a man because of that.
And what's more, laws are being passed in our favor, but somehow we're the terrorists, we're extremists, we're male supremacists, we this, that, and the third. But the real head scratcher is about to come. Let's continue.
Provide them with the correct information that no, your masculinity is not toxic by trade, but there are biological factors and reasonings to the way that you conduct yourself in a woman's response to that. And to think that there's government agencies that are hiding this information from you is sickening. But nevertheless, I'm going to attempt in good faith to review their report and offer my thoughts. Without further ado. Now, before we get started with reviewing this case study, here is my call to action for all of you, because this report is proof that I am being targeted. And although I have faith that YouTube isn't as biased as what this organization is,
Bruh, I hate to break it to you. YouTube has a bias. And you could tell this is biased. All of it. They only focus on male spaces. They only focus on misogyny. But yet, as we prove time and time again, misandry is just as bad. But I keep on forgetting. Misogyny is demonized, misandry is praised. So basically, it's okay for women to go around hating men, wishing death on men, but it's wrong. But it's wrong when men do it. Yes, it's clear to see that Homeland Security has favorites. They clearly have favorites. But let's continue.
As these NGOs are, you just never know. All it takes is somebody to not actually review my content, to get past the titles, to get past the thumbnails, and someone who believes that anyone that thinks that anybody who's anti-feminism is a hate mongerer can look at reports like this and...
What did I tell you? This retarded fuck shit is not even about hate at all. It's about bias. And you could bet your ass that feminism is behind all of it. Basically, Homeland Security is only doing this retarded fuck shit because the feminists have them in their pocket. They doing all this because they want to protect feminism. It ain't got nothing to do with hate. Especially when they want to focus on one side of hate while disregarding the other. And what has Uncle JD been saying about one-sided correctness? It's a double whammy. Not only does it not work, but it has the opposite effect. I mean, look at the Homeland Security's first attempt. Not only did their first attempt didn't work, but what happened? These male spaces grew in size, and some grew universal, thanks to their desperate attempt. And now they're stuck in this spot. How did they get into this spot? But let's continue.
I'm gone, demonetized, deleted, what have you. So because of this, I have gone out my way to create a community, a free community, and this will be where the MT Army resides, which will become the best self-development community in the world. We're going to focus on 4 main pillars of growth: your financial fitness, health and wellness, identifying your purpose, and solidifying your masculinity. Much more information on that later, but click on the link down in the description box down below so you can join. Men need a safe space in order to improve. It's clear that these public spaces are no longer safe. So click in, beam up, and let's get active. Diverting hate, misogynistic extremism, the manosphere, and mainstream social media. Let's just go down. So you'll see even down here they have in the footer that this is in fact funded by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. But let's just continue
No
to go down.
surprise.
So you'll see here, this is, I guess, their mission statement. We exist to create a world where all people can be safe from misogyny. Now,
Just misogyny. Again, one sexist is demonized, the other sexist is praised. Let's continue.
what's interesting about this is that they're called diverting hate, but they only focus on one side of the coin. They don't focus on misandry. Their focus is purely on men. And I wonder why that is.
And this is the reason why I look at them as nothing more than a bunch of retarded fuck-ass hypocrites. This is the reason why you got retarded fucks on YouTube claiming that misandry doesn't exist, it's only misogyny. Oh, so they're not women out here, especially on social media, that clearly shows their hatred of men? Clearly shows their disdain for men. Clearly shows that they wish death on men, young boys, and and male babies. Oh, that part of sexism does not exist. Only misogyny exists. Again, get the fuck out of here. Let's continue.
That is. I wonder how many different organizations up under the Department of Homeland Security are focused or funding organizations that try to dissemble misandry. It's funny how that happens, and no wonder you get the rise of content creators such as Sprinkle Sprinkle, which teaches women how to commit prenup fraud on men that want to marry them.
When you talk about the loopholes of prenups, can you maybe give a broad example? Yes.
Sprinkle will keep their asses single.
Be on drugs or alcohol when you sign. Sprinkle.
Sprinkle, keeping them single.
Whatever drugs you're on, not illegal drugs, but prescription drugs that alter your.
And fellas, don't listen to a gold digger. Don't even bother even talking to a woman who listens to this gold digger. Let's continue.
Alter the way that you make decisions, and that way you can pull that up if you want your prenup null and void.
Or you get other women whose names shall not be named that tell you to abort male fetuses for being male, some of the most sickest, deplorable shit that they're allowed to maintain with on their platforms. But I ask you, whatever on my platform has ever promoted
Like them dumb, bitter, sexist broads that was over there on TikTok promoting kill all men. Oh, but misogyny is the problem. Again, get the fuck out of here, hypocrites. Let's continue.
The hate for women. Go back through my catalog and in fact look down in my comments section right now, the people in there that cannot believe that I was put number 2 of 10. But anyway, let me just get back down into the case study. So anyway, the first thing that I wanted to touch on was the executive summary of this report. And I'll go over this. The purpose of the report. This report serves as a crucial examination of the multifaceted challenges arising from the manosphere's influence on online platforms. Now, I find it interesting that they call out the manosphere, something that I said that I am not a part of 3+ years ago. But the problem...
And that's a fact. That's a fact. MTR is not part of the manosphere, but knowing feminists run Homeland Security, just like the femitards, they'll just throw you on the side, and you don't even belong in that side. In fact, you don't even have a side at all. They just need people. They just want people to be on that side, just have something to cry and bitch about. Let's continue.
Problem is that if you have a majority male audience and you talk about the dating struggles today, identifying behavior or toxicity issues with the modern women of today, while at the same time promoting self-development to the people that watch you, they just place you in here. But I mean, content piece after content piece, because truthfully, and I've said this, that it is hard for me to be a part of something where I cannot control the brand, whether it's Manosphere, whether it's Red Pill, but I've said for years now that this content comes from me. Now, is there some RP influence? I would agree with that, but let's move on. Its purpose is to provide actionable insights, foster ethical practices, and propose effective interventions to address the propagation of misogynistic narratives and extremist viewpoints. Pay attention. By presenting
misogynistic narratives and extremist viewpoints. Okay, so where are these viewpoints at? And why is this our first time hearing this? Let's continue.
A comprehensive is not comprehensive, let me tell you. Analysis. The report aims to equip practitioners, men's community, and well-being organizations, policymakers, and VLOPs with the knowledge needed to counteract the destructive effects of normalized violence within the manosphere. Really?
Really? They keep crying and bitching about violence, but yet they have no substantial evidence claiming any violent acts that was committed. I'm a MGTOW, and there are no reported violent acts from anyone within the MGTOW philosophy, which, by the way, is a lifestyle and a thought process. But they want to make that illegal too. Let's continue. Fucking commies.
Normalized violence. You know, the first thing that I thought about when I thought about this term normalized violence is I thought back to the case of that woman that claimed that she was hit in the face with the brick, and she would often describe that anyone who didn't believe her as being violent against her. By the way, GoFundMe ended up taking down her page where she earned almost $40,000 off of a fraud, off of a lie. And apparently, holding those people accountable is seen as violence, normalized violence. Meanwhile, I've uploaded content on this channel that talks about men. Do not engage with violence. Stay away from violence. The seriousness of violence or putting yourself or react.
That is also true. As I said before, they try to make it seem like MTR only goes after women. No, he goes after men too. They try to make it seem like MTR only talks about women. No, he talks about men too. But somehow that makes him a male supremacist, according to Homeland Security. But let's continue.
Reacting to situations where you're leveraging your emotions instead of responding logically with frame and stoicism to those very same situations. Shit, focusing on the black community, I think most of the issue with the men is because of the single parent epidemic. They have not seen fathers, strong fathers, masculine fathers, demonstrate themselves effectively, and instead have watched the emotionality of their mothers, who then utilize that emotion to prey on those within their same communities. I've always maintained the importance of a two-parent household, that you need the mother as well as the father. I push for two-parent households. Do y'all? Or are you on the side of single mothers can act as fathers, knowing damn well that a woman cannot turn a boy into a man? But the lessons that I've learned from my single father have taught me lessons that have kept me out of drugs, out of the court system, graduating post-secondary from a top 30 MBA school, and then transitioning all of my knowledge to mentorship to these young men so that they can make
facts. High school diploma, college degree, bachelor's degree, no convictions, no prison time, none of that stereotypical bullshit. In fact, I'm a living example. I'm an actual living example that can debunk all these claims talking about, oh, black men such as myself, all we do is just sell drugs, they get locked up and all that other bullshit that they claim. I, for one, can debunk this shit, and it makes them mad as fuck. Let's continue.
Make better choices within their life. But is that what you guys are going to report on? Or this normalization of violence, which again, I've never pushed. By the way, when they say VLOPs or very large online platforms, I think what they're saying there is the YouTubes, the Facebooks, the Twitters. They're pressuring the social media platforms to take them seriously, to control what they allow on their platforms. Meanwhile, I've never said this on my platform before, but guys,
which is unconstitutional, in which I failed to mention Homeland Security got in trouble with the House and the Senate for violating violating such acts? If I didn't, I said it now. Let's continue.
Guys, I've never received a community guideline strike at all, because those that in charge that look at the content, they know that there's not hate that comes from my words on this platform right here. So anyway, there's a call to action, all these other sections like that. But here's what I wanted to get into next, which is the male supremacy scale, a YouTube case study. Now, once you guys see the ridiculousness of how they're choosing
here we go.
to utilize the information on the scale, you will understand my passion. Together with the Polarization and Extremism Research Innovation Lab, acronym PERIL, at American University, which I believe is in DC, we conducted a case study to investigate the viability of executing effective diversion campaigns. Yes, you read that correct. Effective diversion campaigns aimed at a range of male supremacist YouTube influencers who are prominent within the manosphere. So essentially, they're taking tax dollars and they're reinvesting that into running ad campaigns on my videos, that after you watch one of my videos, you'll see one of their approved vendors. But what is the scale that they're using to determine how naughty that we are? Well, the scale was developed as a tool to understand, define, and quantify the phenomenon of contemporary male supremacy, specifically in the context of online platforms. The male supremacy scale is a 15-point scale to measure male supremacy broken into 3 subscales: anti-feminism, female dishonesty in relationships, and women like alphas, with 5 sub-bullets underneath each point. Now, they actually go through and describe each of these 3 buckets.
Let's highlight anti-feminism, and female dishonesty in relationships. So basically, they have an issue with men talking about the fucked up shit these women do. But more importantly, look at the first one, anti-feminism. No one can tell me that this isn't about favoritism. No one cannot sit here and tell me that these retarded fucks don't have a bias. Anti-feminism? Really? So Homeland Security is pro-feminism. Homeland Security is doing this for the feminists because they believe that men should not have a voice. Men can't do this, men can't do that, but these women can do all this stuff and that shit's okay. And they wonder why nobody's taking their asses seriously. But let's continue.
I'll read the first one. Anti-feminism explores how the participant feels about feminism and feminists in general. So by nature of this study, they're essentially saying, if you do not agree with feminists or those within the feminist movement, you are bad. As if there's not destructive
I'm like, just by me reading that, I'm like, what is this? What is this? Kim Jong-un, North Korea communism? Oh, so we have to love feminism. We have to support feminism. And if you don't, you're a misogynist, you're a sexist. That's what they're saying. Basically, they want to control, they want thought control. They want thought control. And Homeland Security wants to be the thought police. Guess what, Homeland Security? You cannot control what people like and don't like. This ain't North Korea. I don't see no Kim Jong-uns anywhere around. But that's exactly how this article sounds like. A bunch of communistic bullshit. Let's continue.
Messages that are pushed because of feminist rhetoric and ideology. See, I agree with the early starts of feminism that wanted equality of opportunity. If I had a daughter, I would want her to be all that she can be, to have the same opportunities as her male counterparts. I believe and I ride for this degree of feminism, but I do not agree and ride for what it's turned into. This idea that you're walking around oppressed by men is absolutely insane in modern times today. The idea that,
In the words of Tom MacDonald, off his song Fake Woke, feminism used to be the most righteous of fights, but seems like nowadays you just secretly hate guys. I don't believe in anyone who I don't believe anyone who bleeds for a week and don't die. I'm just kidding. But everything else that I said was right.
that you have any rights within a society that a man does not have in Western society today is absolutely insane. I disagree with how sexual liberation is pushed to the masses, pushed to children, as if there's no consequences or byproducts to the damage that it is causing to not even just young boys, but to young girls in this thinking. I do not agree with the components of feminism that allows biologically born men to compete in women's sports.
And that right there is a straight up and that right there is a contradiction in itself. They talk about male supremacy, but these are the same retarded fucks who believes it's okay for a thing to compete in women's sports. And then we have to sit back and pretend like, oh, that's an actual female. But this is what they want to cry, bitch, and complain about. Straight up. That is a straight up contradiction. Let's continue.
Watching these biological women get knocked the hell out at an MMA event is sickening. To entertain conversations of children transitioning their gender on the backs of feminist rhetoric and ideology, to me, makes you an extremist. Not me. For some reason, I feel as though these raging feminists were listening to Sexy Red's My Coochie Pink, My Booty Hole Brown as they were crafting this pile of dog shit. But what they did is that they utilized a research technique, which is referred to as a 7-point Likert scale from strongly disagree to agree, where they asked participants to rate the content that they were looking at from what they've already predetermined to be correct.
And I bet those participants was a small number. So a small number of participants speaks for the whole entire world as a whole. Please, let's continue.
That anti-feminism is wrong, and if you rate them high, then they are a male supremacist. But what I found very interesting is that I have never seen a research study where they don't talk about the audience that they surveyed. Who took the damn surveys? Were the people that took it biased in nature? Was this a Likert scale giving to the authors and the researchers and the editors that created this case study? Great job conducting due diligence in your case studies, guys. You really did everything that you could have to remain unbiased. But if you guys want to see exactly what those categories and subcategories are, then here they are. And I will go over some of these just for the sake of time. But the first one at the top of anti-feminism, feminism is about hating men. I've never said this statement.
What? No, fellas. Y'all actually read that correct. Anti-feminism, one of the ways of anti-feminism is feminism is about hating men. God damn it, you can't make this shit up. Further proof that, it's only wrong when men do it, but it's okay when feminism do it. Again, Y'all can't tell me that this is not a bias. This is not favoritism. So according to retarded fuck-ass national security, oh, if you say feminism is about hating men, you're anti-feminist. You're a problem. But it's okay to talk about misogyny and sexism against women. The hypocrisy is real. Let's continue.
On my platform ever. What I have said is that it is problematic when you have, for example, I got a friend of mine who was born in Saudi Arabia, grew up in an actual patriarchal regime, moved over to America when she was a teenager, and within her maturing as a young woman has latched on to this westernized modern ideals of feminism and actively complains as if she's in a society where men oppress her. But if you ask her specific examples of this oppression, she cannot give you any. But if you ask her, what laws in society do men have that benefit them that women have that do not benefit them, she can't answer them. And actually, now that I think about it, I uploaded content this very week where an interviewer were asking women on a street, if you were alone in the woods, would you rather choose a bear or a man to be there with? And more often than not, these women chose a bear. You have to consider the cultural narrative or propaganda within a society that allows educated people to choose a vicious animal over an adult man.
Would you rather be stuck in a forest with a man or a bear?
Man is scary. With a bear. Depends what man, but probably a bear. 100%.
And believe me, ladies, Yogi Bear can have you.
Bear, which is like terrifying to say, but definitely a bear. Some men are very scary out there. A bear.
I've personally grown up in a society watching genital mutilation being laughed at. I remember back in the 90s, that whole Lorena Bobbitt situation and how they made joke after joke over this man getting his genitals snipped off. I remember as a child watching daytime television shows that the titles of the shows were something to the effect of, does size matter? Do you know what that does to the psyche of a young boy when you begin to establish that your value and your worth of your man is through your eggplant? But point me to the equality or the narratives in media that focus on women's genitalia. And to think that all of that content, and obviously much, much more, that I don't have time within the length of this video to go through, is funded by mainstream media, begins to help you understand the psyche of why a Saudi Arabia-born woman that, if she stayed there at the time, would have not had the opportunity to even drive a car, come over here and complain about some made-up shit because she's contracted the feminist mind virus. And because of that, is less likely to have a good, established relationship with a man where she can create a two-parent household. Oh, by the way, she's a single mother. There's active conversation.
She's a single mom. She's a single mom.
Online of, do we need men? The men will respond, yes. The women will respond, eh. Meanwhile, men have risked their lives to build the infrastructure and to innovate on so many products that will allow the comfort of our societies to continue to exist. Modern society prioritizes women over men. Listen, I don't believe I've ever said this statement specifically, but there are certain ways where women are in fact prioritized over men. There was a reason.
Divorce courts, family courts. I mean, the list is endless. Let's continue, man.
And why most homeless people are men. There is a reason why most self-deletes are men. There was a reason why most workplace deaths are men. If you were to go out on a street and ask men or women, hey, what are some of the issues facing women today? You can usually get a laundry list. If you ask these same people, what are some of the issues that men face today? You get a lot of crickets chirping in the background. Feminists are unattractive. My talking points are focused.
Yeah, these are the same feminists that talks about how men are unattractive. Oh, I forgot. It's wrong when the men do it. It's okay when these females do it. Let's continue.
Around unattractive behavior, and the attitudes of some of these modern day feminists are abhorrent. I just did a video last week where feminists on the show The View offered that men are useless.
So there's this clip going viral online of a dozen women being asked the following question: do we need men? Most answered very quickly, no. And only one said she thought women needed a man in their lives, only one. But when men were asked a similar question, do we need women? Most of them said yes. So why do you think that is?
Because men are useless. I mean, my husband, it takes a village of women to make sure that he's not emaciated, starving, and living in his own filth.
I need my man 3 to 4 times a week, and good for you guys. And then the rest of the time, I need a wife because I've always said.
Yeah, because the value of a man in your life is only reduced down to what he can do inside of your box. The misandry here, the man hate here is so goddamn crazy. Now imagine a group of men.
Exactly. But again, it's only wrong when men do it. And they wonder why. And they wonder why their shit ain't working. They wonder why all their attempts is not working. But let's continue.
And sitting on a paddle talking about all I need my wife for is her insides. The cancel culture will come a knocking.
That's totally differently in how I prep because broadly speaking, I feel like men have proven largely useless. Like I think in the political moment, the people who are saying what needs to be said in my party, it's all women. The very few men, with the exception of Mike Pence and a few others, are saying what they need to. But in life, like I need my husband. I don't know if I need any other men, but he is irreplaceable.
Like women have conversations about their feelings. Men talk about sports,
socializing,
cars, all that stuff.
I don't know. My husband talks about his feelings with his
Maybe he's gay.
Hold on, I gotta play that M part one more time.
Oh, that's the best. Oh, look at that. Sexism just runs out of her fat lips. The utter misandry. Let's continue. But it's okay, right?
Talk about sports, cars, all that stuff.
I don't know. My husband talks about his feelings with his
Maybe he's gay.
Maybe he's gay. Next, we have men self-deleting at a rate 5 times higher than their female counterparts. You talk about the importance of having community for women, but a man that expresses himself amongst his boys is now gay. But shaming them and their sexuality for talking amongst each other is a new low. This is on ABC, nationally televised to millions of people. Yes, this happened last week for a show that was aired on prime time TV. Meanwhile, I have never, ever in the history of my content ever said women are useless. By the way, researchers
Ever. And I'm a witness to that. He never said it. But take a good look at this list, fellas, and tell me this bullshit is not biased and it's showing favoritism to feminism. And they wonder why this shit ain't working. They wonder why instead of men avoiding these male spaces, they are more and more attracted to them. This is the reason why they're dealing with the problems they got today. Marriage rates low. Birth rates low. Shoot, you even got CNN and the rest of those fools complaining about why men refuse to date in these days and times or refuse to marry. But we're the problem. Again, one-sided correctness doesn't fix the problem. It just escalates it. But nevertheless, I'm going to stop it right here. If y'all want to watch the full video in its entirety to get the full understanding of the situation, I'll leave the link in the description box. Go check them out. Tell them JG Miles sent you. But I said what I had to say. I'm done. In the words of Michael Jackson, all I want to say is that they don't give a fuck about us. All I want to say is that they don't give a fuck about us. And they wonder why we exist. And no, we're not going away. We're not going away from this. Haven't they ever heard of the Barbra Streisand effect? The more they try to suppress, the harder they will fight. Pin a scared dog to the corner. What he will do? No, he won't attack. He will defend. And that's plain and simple. I said what I had to say, and I'm out this bitch. Later.